Start. So any API, so that you are going to interact, first HTTP warm methods you have to give. That's the first thing you have to select. So it's a get call, or post call, post method, or put method, delete method. So these are the 4 methods you are going to use. So once this is done, you have to give base URL. So base URL means your host URL. So your server URL. So that's a base URL. You are going to give that. So then slash your API name, your API method name, and then the API method name will be there. Method name will be there here. So method name. So like this, you have method, and also some query parameters, path parameters will be there. So I'm going to discuss. So every, and also headers, you are going to give headers also. So you are going to give headers. And then authentication. So you have to give authentication. You are authenticating. So with tokens, there are different tokens will be there. So authentication, so you can use username, password, basic auth. That is called basic auth. And no auth APIs also will be there. So no auth, basic auth, bearer tokens, and also OAuth, OAuth 2.0, and OAuth 1.0. So these are the different authentication mechanisms are there. So those different authentication mechanisms, so you have to use basic auth. So these are, they will ask all these questions. What are the different authentication mechanisms? And then bearer token. So bearer tokens will be there. And then OAuth, OAuth 1.0 and OAuth 2.0 will be there. So 1 or 2.0. So both will be there. So any one you can use. So there are different other, but these are the famous ones. So mostly you will use these authentication. Then request body. So request body will be there only for which HTTP verb methods. So only for post and
put.
put. So only post and put is going to have this request body. So for get and delete, you don't need a request body. So that's the API structure, what will be there. But in this API only, we are going to get query parameters and path parameters. So let's understand, this is another very important interview question. What is query parameters? Querying means you're searching, right? You're searching. That's a query parameters means. So query parameters means, so you are searching. So let's see, so what is this search and all and query parameters and path parameters, very important. Let me give you with examples. Okay. So headers I was talking, right? So what is a resource? So resource is nothing but so server inside, anything that you can identify uniquely that data or object. So that can be accessed so uniquely. So anything that is there in the server, that is called a resource. So format of any REST APIs, as I just now I mentioned, right, very clearly, you have to use first HTTP verb method, then protocol, then host IP address or host name, local host, or facebook.com or twitter.com you will give, right? So, or postman.com. So these are the host name. And port, there will be a port also for the local environments. And then resource path and parameters. So the parameters are two types, query parameters and path parameters. So basically for your request, you are providing additional information to identify resource. To identify your resource, you are going to use a query and path parameters. The format of URI is, so protocol, the base URL plus resource plus path, and query path are query parameters. So you can use any of them. So base URL plus resource, how you can identify the resource. So that resource and the path parameters and query parameters you have to give. So below is an example of URI structure. You can see this. This is the protocol, and this is the base, so URL, localhost, and this is the port, and this is the application context, and the version, and the resource, and the parameter. So this is the path parameter, we call this. If you're giving the curly bracket, the ID, so the user ID, so you're giving in this users, one user you are recognizing, one user resource you are recognizing. So that's the path parameters, we call that. So there is a query parameters also. So path parameters and query parameters. So if your API is expecting any parameters, then you must pass those parameters as part of your request. So that I have given here, right, just now. So one example, see, my API is so requesting to A and B two parameters. So that I'm giving here. So that's the parameters. You're supplying the parameters to your API. So what is path parameters? So the variable is part of your URL, your endpoint URL. So just now we have seen, right? This is the endpoint here. So this is the parameter. It's part of URL only. That is called path parameters. The parameter is part of your endpoint URL. That is called path parameters. So these are embedded in the URL path of the request. So path parameters are used to point to a specific resource within the collection. So in the group of users, you want one user and you give that user ID and you will get a particular user ID one. That is possible with the path parameters. You have to create a path parameters. So like this. So out of books, so I want 2324 book ID. Only that book details you will get. Right? That's the path parameters means. Then what is query parameters? So query parameters are basically you are performing a search. You're performing a search by giving a different inputs. That's an additional parameter you're giving to filter it, to filter the data. If you want to filter the data or sort or paginate anything, if you want to do, or you want to limit, and you will use these query parameters. You will use query parameters. See this. /books, question mark. This is the query and author is the parameter. So question mark means is a query and author is the parameter, query parameter. So then and ampersand is the, so another query parameter. So here limit to author are the query parameters. You are querying this author and you're limiting up to 10. That is the query parameters. So are you clear on the path and query parameters? query parameters are indicated in URL by adding a question mark after the base URL, followed by one or more key value pairs separated by ampersand. So that's a query parameters. But path parameters means in the URL itself, you will enclose in the curly bracket the parameter name. That is the path parameters. I hope you are clear on that. Any questions on that before moving on to headers? I already given headers also, but let me give you in detail about headers and cookies. Are we good? Okay. No questions, I think. So headers. So while sending the data, you need to give in the request some headers. And in the response also, you'll get those headers. So basically, so when you're sending additional data to the server, you have to tell how you are sending the data, what type of data you are sending. Is it a text or is it a JSON? Is it a XML or what type of data you are sending? That you will mention in the headers. So that's the headers means. Like you will say application JSON. So accept application JSON. Content type application JSON. So that means you are going to accept the content JSON format. So content type, you are going to send the content in the JSON format. That's the meaning of this. So we are sending a JSON format. You are expecting a JSON from the server. You have to add this key value pair. Headers, you need to add key and value. This is the key and this is the value. So key value pair you have to add. So that's the headers means. Even you can specify your bearer token also here. Bearer token and so you can say authorization and you can write bearer token and token number. So that's so headers in the headers you can give your auth token also. So this is all format we have seen already. So we don't need again multiple times. Very good. Yeah, we discussed already this. Okay, so when do we use put and patch? So here you can see patch. First understand what is put and what is patch, then you can easily understand. Put is used to update the existing resource on the server. It modifies the existing resource. That's a put will do. If the resource doesn't exist, then it creates that resource. In put, we need to pass the whole request body. Whole entire body how to pass. So patch is also used to partially modify the existing resource. For example, if you want to update only the address of the resource, then we use patch. So in the patch request body, we can pass only those parameters which you want to modify. So that's the difference between put and patch. Is this clear? Between put and patch. Are we good or any questions? Okay.
It's like both are same, but patch it modifies to the existing one also sometimes.
No.
No?
See, put will update, patch will also update, but put will update the existing resource and patch also will do. When you are doing a modification with the put, you have to give the request body, right? You have to give complete. structure. Okay, even though you are modifying one part there, but if you use, you have to give entire JSON structure. But in the patch, you can tell, okay, which part you want to modify. Only that part you can mention in the request body. Not required to give entire JSON. Suppose
Like
I
specific thing.
my surname, I can give only surname or last name, right? Last name, that's it. You don't need to give first name, last name, email, all this structure you don't need to give for the patch. Only which part you want to modify, only that you mention, that parameter you mention in the JSON body. That is patch. But in the put, you have to give everything. First name, last name, email, phone number, whatever is there, everything you have to give for put. Whatever schema is there.
Okay.
So Ramesh, basically it is doing the same functionality. Only thing is how we give the command. I mean to say, for put we give the whole body of the JSON. Here patch we give only the particular element or a field. Am I
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Put will create the resource if not there in the server, but patch won't do that. Okay.
Yeah, that might be the reason to create a new object also. We need all the so put work as a both.
Yeah. So you can update, you can, if it is not there in the server, it will create.
Yeah,
But
okay.
patch won't create. So that's the main difference between put and patch. This is one of the major interview question. Okay. See, I have given here all the details also. See, for put, I'm giving entire thing. But I want to update only email. See, I can give only email. That is with the patch. Clear? Okay. So what are the different status codes? This is another very, very important. 200 series, okay. When the request is successful, you will get a 200. So when the record is created, then you will get a 201. So 202 accepted. So your request is accepted and processing. So that's a 202. 204 partial content. So these are the 200 series. Just to know these 200 series status codes. 400 bad request. These are all 400 series are client side errors. So if the client is throwing some errors before so the server cannot process the request because the request is not formatted properly or malformed input and URL is wrong and the data format you have given wrong. All this bad request if you are giving and it will throw 400 bad request. So 401 unauthorized. So this code clearly tells, okay, you haven't authorized to access this API. That means you might have given a wrong username, password, or wrong token you have given, or you didn't give a token at all. That time you will get a 401 unauthorized. So there is one more 403 forbidden. So please understand the difference between 401 and 403. This is another interview question. 403 forbidden means you are authorized. That means you have given a valid token, valid username, password, you are authorized. But is not authenticated for the requested resource. Resource, you don't have a permission to use that resource. The forbidden means it is stopping you. You don't have a permission to perform the operations on that resource. That's a 403 you will get. I hope you are clear on this 401 and 403. This is another major interview question. like put to patch. So 404 not found. This code is received when the requested resource is not found in the server. So requested resource is not found in the server. Then you can use this 404. 405 method not allowed. So this when you can do this is because your API is different purpose, but you are using a HTTP verb method, different method. So it is a post related, but you are calling get method. Then you will get a 405 method not allowed. So create request, your create user, you're calling the API endpoint, but you are giving a get method. So that is not supported. So that is the 405 method not allowed. So these, if you know this in the 400 series, that's more than enough. Okay. Next 500 series. So internal server error. These are server side errors. 500 series means server side errors. So this is received when an unexpected condition are not able to process in the server. Your request is not able to process inside the server. Then you will get a 500 error. So 502 bad gateway. So this is received when the server, which was acting as a gateway, and it is so taking invalid response from the upstream server. Upstream is the one more server on top of this. So you have received an invalid response from the upstream server. That time, so it will throw 502 bad gateway. 503 service unavailable. You might have seen this along so many times, right? If you go to ATMs and say service unavailable, that means it was down. The service is down. That time you will get a 503 service unavailable. 504 gateway timeout. When the server didn't receive a timely response from the upstream server, you will get a 504 gateway timeout. So these are the main important status codes, and they will ask mandatorily, they will ask these status codes. Please read all the status code in every series, 200 series, 300 series, 400 series, 500 series. At least you should be able to explain 3 or 4 in each series. So that gives a very good impression. So yeah, these are all the different examples. So post, you are going to give a payload in the JSON format. Get call, you don't need any input. Put call, say this is the path parameter. You are giving ID. So delete, okay, you are deleting which item, so that ID you are going to give. Post, so you are going to maybe delete. This is the delete, is a typo. Delete and this ID. So, and that's it. So you can get particular item ID. So that's the get to post to put to delete. So these are all okay. I just given, see this is the post request body. So title, so this body, user ID, this is the request, and you will get the response back. So that's a post sample I'm just giving. So request URL and method is a post method, request body and response you will get, and the status code also will be there. Okay, so that's all about. But how can you test them? So how can you test this APIs? How can you test these APIs? So these are all API automation related, but I don't want to dig into this now. So we'll go and understand how can you test all these things. So to test this, we are going to use a tool, Postman. So please download Postman from Google. You go to Google and just download Postman. So if you go here, anywhere, you go here, Postman download. So you can go here also, just download the Postman. You can see here Windows 64-bit. You can use and just after download, it's a exe file. Okay, so exe file, and you can just and run this. You can run that. Tomorrow we'll cover how to test this Postman ABS. We'll see another few minutes where we can close this. Just give me a few minutes. And then once you install this, you log in with your Gmail or sign up. If you don't have account, please sign up. If you don't have an account, please sign up. And so this is the Postman. So Postman, so you can create a collections. So you can see you have all the methods here: get to, post to, put to, patch, delete, head do options, but we won't use these things. We'll use only these things. And so here you have params, authorization. This is all request related. This part, this half part, right? This part, request related. So headers, body. So you can create a request body and scripts, and you have a, so here the script you can write, and also test cases. You can write the test cases. Okay, you can create the test cases. So those test cases, we'll see that also. And then once you click on send button, you will get the response here. You will get the response here. So that is this, and you can create a collection, a new collection you can create. You see here you have a lot of options. Collection you can create environment variables. So with the different options, you can play around with this, and tomorrow I'll show you how to work with this and what are the APIs. So which APIs we are going to practice. So we have Postman itself is providing a lot of APIs. So you can see this, the JSON format. You are getting a request button 200. Okay. So that's the how. So the endpoint URL, then you're getting the response back. So get call, you don't need any request body. Directly you can give. So this is the key value pair, query parameters, path parameters you can give, anything you can give. So, but you have to choose. Let's see, let me take you, there is a, so in our blog very clearly we have this. So let me show you. This is the Postman you can download. So there are so many tools you can use to test the API. One is a Postman, SOAP UI, Tosca, APIZ, Catalan Studio, and curl command, a command line interface, this one. So this curl allow you can use to test your APIs. So Postman is the first priority, and there is one more, Insomnia, and even you can use this also. This is also good. So it's similar to Postman. So download Insomnia for Windows. This is also good. I will have both. Okay, so one is giving a trouble because for me it is giving a trouble. It's not loading properly. That's why I will have Insomnia also. let me have this also. So this is another same as a Postman. So you can see all three native API mocking. You can do mocking also, but so we can just continue. So for us, local is enough. We don't want continue with Google. So that's the APIs. Continue with Google. So I'm continuing with Google. So passphrase you can use. So can be, you can give your own passphrase, I think. So I'm giving. Let me test APIs. 24. So we are successfully authenticated. So this is the, so APIs, you can create a new collection, all this. So this is also another very good one. You can create a new collection. So I can give my collection name, Postman APIs. Create. So you can add one by one here. So we will add one by one. So, and new request you can create, you can switch, you can edit environment variables, all we can do that. So we'll do that. So that I'll show you, but let me show you all the Postman APIs. So we have still time. Let's see Postman APIs. So this is all installation. You don't need much here. Yeah, so this is the API documentation. You can just go here. A lot of APIs, they provided examples. So they have given a lot of APIs. You can reuse all of them. See, this is the Postman APIs. You can see. So which APIs you want? There is a collections, there is environments, so many. I will go to collections. So collections. So you can see create a collection. You can read here. So create a collection means you need a what you need. They have given very clearly. So you need a API key, you need a so body, request body, all this you need to provide. Then you will get a response here. So they have given everything clearly. Say 200 okay. And that is the one. And the get collection. See, this is the URL. And then so what you need to provide for get. So the method is a get method and the endpoint URL, and you have to give collection ID if you want to get the particular collection. So there is out of group of collections, one collection ID you can get it. So that's the this is the query parameter. We call this as a path parameter, right? This is the path parameter. So you can see a call also. You can execute call also. So here, if you want to say call, you can execute in the command prompt by giving like this. So this is the another way. And delete collection. See the collection ID you are giving. So then put. So it's a put method. So a put method, you have to give collection ID. Okay, which collection ID you want to update. Then you have to give request body. So you are giving a request name, schema, and some data you are providing, right? So that's the request body for put method. Patch, you have patch also. So patch also same. So you can give only one if you want, whichever you want to modify. So like that you can create all these requests, independent requests, right? Get to, post to, put to, delete to, patch. So I'm going to create all of them. So in this collection inside, then we can run that. So then we can run all of them. Okay. So that tomorrow I'll show you, and we can progress tomorrow. Manually, first you need to understand before going for automation. So how you can test in the Postman, in the Insomnia, or in the even browser also providing some plugins. You can use browser plugins also to test these APIs. But better, Postman is a good one, and Insomnia also good one. You can use any one of them. Yeah. So let's go and see tomorrow. So executing